In the dead of night, a single chilling scream echoed through the deserted mansion. An imposing structure, the mansion sat in the heart of the city, its stone walls bearing silent witness to the passage of time. Yet, within these walls, the air was thick with an uncanny silence, broken only by the occasional, inexplicable sounds of creaking floorboards and rustling curtains. A shroud of mystery hung over the mansion, tales of strange occurrences becoming its only companions. As whispers of these eerie happenings reached the ears of 4 daring souls, curiosity took hold. Each was drawn to the mansion, driven by a desire to uncover its secrets. As they approached the towering Gothic structure, they felt a cold shiver run down their spines. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they stepped over the threshold, their fate sealed. A heavy silence hung in the air as they ventured deeper, each creak of the floorboards sounding like a death knell. Their footsteps echoed through the cavernous mansion, the only sound piercing the heavy shroud of silence. Each room they entered was a snapshot of a bygone era, dust-covered and forgotten, a chilling testament to the passage of time. Their hearts pounded in their chests, a rhythm of fear that matched the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall. The mansion was not just old, it was alive with a past that refused to be silenced. As they delved deeper into the mansion, they couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. It was as if unseen eyes followed their movements from the shadowy corners of each room. Every so often, they'd catch a fleeting glimpse of something out of the corner of their eye. A flash of white, a ripple in the air, a figure that wasn't there a moment ago. The mansion was not just silent. It was holding its breath, waiting, watching. The air was thick with a sense of impending doom. Their nerves were taut, their senses heightened. Each sound, each movement sent shivers down their spine. The screech of a rat in the walls, the whisper of the wind through the broken windows, the eerie hoot of an owl in the distant woods. Each sound was a symphony of terror. Then, they began to hear it, the soft, ethereal sound of a woman weeping. It drifted through the hallways, a mournful lament that echoed through the silence. The sound was chilling, a haunting melody that twisted their insides with fear. It was a sound that was not of this world, a sound that belonged to the spirits that dwelled within the mansion's walls. The deeper they ventured, the more terrifying their discoveries became. Blood-curdling screams echoed from the upper floors, chilling whispers followed them through the hallways, and ghostly apparitions flickered at the edge of their vision. The mansion was not just haunted, it was a living, breathing entity of fear. The walls seemed to close in on them as a cold, unseen presence brushed past, leaving a trail of dread. Suddenly, a dull thud echoed through the mansion, followed by an eerie silence that made their blood run cold. The peace of the night was shattered, replaced by an all-consuming dread. A chill wind blew through the house, carrying with it a scent of decay and the unmistakable stench of fear. Our protagonists, once filled with curiosity and a thirst for adventure, now stood petrified, their hearts pounding in their chests like a drummer gone wild. The deafening silence was eventually broken by a guttural growl, low and menacing, that seemed to come from the very bowels of the mansion. This was the horrifying event that would lead them to a life-threatening encounter with a malevolent entity. As they turned to face this unseen terror, their eyes wide with fear, they found themselves staring into the cold, unfeeling eyes of their tormentor. A figure shrouded in darkness, its malicious intent palpable. It was a sight so terrifying it could freeze the blood in your veins. Their instincts screamed at them to flee, to escape the nightmare that had suddenly become their reality. But their attempts to run were in vain. Doors that once led to safety were now mysteriously locked. Windows that offered a glimpse of the outside world were now shrouded in an impenetrable darkness. Their screams echoed through the mansion, a chilling symphony of terror. But these cries for help were futile. There was no one to hear them, no one to come to their rescue. The mansion once a symbol of grandeur and opulence, had become their prison. It stood as a silent witness to their torment, its walls closing in on them, amplifying their fear. As the entity drew closer, their terror reached its peak. Their bodies trembled, their breaths came out in ragged gasps. They could feel the cold touch of despair creeping up on them, threatening to consume them whole. They were trapped, their screams of terror swallowed by the darkness. The mansion stood tall, indifferent to their plight, its silence a chilling reminder of the horrifying ordeal they were enduring. As dawn approached, the mansion seemed to come alive with a sinister energy, its dark secrets ready to be unleashed. The once opulent hallways twisted into a labyrinth of fear, each corner teeming with unseen dread. Our characters, once skeptical, now found their skepticism shattered by the undeniable presence of the supernatural. In the heart of the mansion, they uncovered a haunting truth. The mansion was not merely haunted, it was a vessel for the tormented souls that perished within its walls. The endless hallways, the chilling whispers, the fleeting shadows, all were echoes of a past steeped in terror. The spectral inhabitants were not mere remnants of a bygone era, but desperate entities, seeking release from their eternal torment. The fate of our characters was no less terrifying. Drawn into the mansion's malevolent web, they became part of its gruesome legacy. Their curiosity transformed into their doom, their identities forever woven into the mansion's tapestry of horror. Their screams, their fears, their final moments, all absorbed by the mansion, adding to its collection of terrifying tales. The mansion, a monument to the macabre, stood unchallenged, its secrets secure. Each room a chapter of horror, each hallway a testament to the dreadful deeds committed within its confines. Its story, a chilling blend of history and horror, forever imprinted on the minds of those unfortunate enough to cross its threshold. As the sun rose, the mansion returned to its eerie silence, its horrific tale etched in its ancient walls, waiting for its next victims. The terror of that night imprinted itself on the town's history, a haunting reminder of the mansion's dark past. The echoes of the horrifying events still rippled through the narrow streets, casting long shadows on the cobblestones. The townsfolk, once jovial and carefree, now move with an air of caution, their laughter a little quieter, their smiles a touch more restrained. The mansion's spectral presence looms large, a chilling tableau of the unspeakable horrors that unfolded within its walls. Unanswered questions hang heavy in the air, a palpable fog of uncertainty and fear. Who's next? What's next? No one knows, and so the mansion stands, a chilling monument to the horrors that unfolded within its walls, its story a whispered warning on the wind.